The views expressed on the Nova Society are those of the panelists and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the Phoenix Research Institute or any institution which any panel member is associated. Welcome back to the Nova Society, the space where dialogue deepens understanding and civic responsibility comes to life. I'm Dr. Mark Bound, joined by our regular panel, Dr. Scott Gershwer and Dr. Brooklyn Ann Weldon. Together, we'll unpack the stories that matter most, exploring the headlines, the history, and the big ideas shaping today's conversations. Let's dive in and hear what the panel has for us today.
And today we have a question from Brandon, who writes to us from Boroughbridge, England. And Brandon writes, "So now we're being told yet again that a peace deal has been reached. After 40 plus previous breakthroughs, in quotes, that went nowhere, does the panel see any reason to believe this one is any different? The details are vague at best, and the claim that the Strait of Hormuz will suddenly reopen to all traffic feels more like wishful thinking than a credible development. And realistically, would Iran actually honor a deal that requires it to surrender their strongest source of leverage? It's hard to imagine them giving that up without something far more substantial in return. I'm curious whether the panel sees this as a genuine diplomatic shift or just another announcement that won't survive first contact with reality." Excellent question, Brandon.
It sure is. We're not in the business of making predictions here.
Not good ones.
We have a bad track record of that. But I will say this. Trump's desperation is the different thing here, I think. I mean, Trump has gotten himself into this quagmire and needs a way out. And we've speculated on this broadcast for some time now that he will declare victory and walk away. And I think that that's probably going to happen. That he's simply going to say, this is the greatest deal ever. This is the best deal. Obama couldn't get this deal. Biden couldn't get this deal. George Washington and Lincoln couldn't get this deal. I got this deal. I am the greatest president ever. And, they totally capitulated because we kept hammering them, and we can hammer them tomorrow. And all that remains is for us to go in and collect the dust, the nuclear dust, which is his term for what I suppose he thinks is the ruins of their nuclear program. I tend to think that he thinks that it's like a lump of coal. You smash it and you get that coal dust. That's what it looks like. It's hard to figure out exactly what he's picturing in his head sometimes. But when he says the nuclear dust, he means that we've wrecked that and we're going to go in and pick it up. Most experts don't believe that that's true. They think that they've got something like 400 kilograms of fissionable material that is enriched to 60%, which could be weaponized at any time. I'm a little suspicious that this is a guy named Brandon, because that was one of Biden's nicknames from people on the right. So is this really Joe Biden asking these questions? And if it is, Brandon, let's go, Brandon. If it is, I'll tell you this: I miss you. You were doddering and you were old, but I miss you. There was sanity in the world, and there is none now. We are in the bread and circuses part of our dissolution as an empire, and it only took us 250 years to get here, not 1,000 like it did in Rome. Yes.
Well, and at the rate we're going with lacking urea and lacking proper fertilizer and the drought and lacking diesel. And I understand that the Cubans went back to oxen, and they can do with oxen to plow their fields in a month what they could have done with a tractor in one day. That's the difference between using animals and actual power equipment and an internal combustion engine. We won't even have the bread under Trump.
Brandon, I think that one of the things that about this deal, and you're right, it's very sketchy as to what really this is all about. We'll hopefully learn more. And yes, it's been 40 plus times beforehand, the deal, and we'll see. This is supposed to take, we're recording this on Monday. This is supposed to take effect on Friday coming. So again, we'll see. I'm not going to make a prediction, because if I do, it'll be a bad one. So we're not
It's just a framework of It's just a framework. It's a memorandum
which is
of
totally
understanding.
different. Right.
Yeah,
This
it's
is
not.
Yeah.
This is not what Trump has advertised.
But when we talk about the terms of this thing, we have to ask ourselves: are all the terms? And I think we'll all be in agreement. I don't think Bibi Netanyahu is very happy about this at all, because it's basically telling him, if I understand it correctly, but what we've been told, and again, that could be totally unreliable at this point in time, that he has to stop attacking Lebanon, that he can't do this and he can't do that. And I honestly can't see Bibi Netanyahu backing down from any of this. There's probably too many provisions within it that just will not be acceptable to the Israelis. And I agree with you. If nothing else, this war has shown and has made Iran a world power because of their ability to control the Strait of Hormuz. Why would they give that up without something significant? And I'm not talking about the $28 billion that is supposed to change hands. When back in the day, when Obama was president, and there was, a deal reached, we gave up like 200 million, and they lost their minds. The right lost its bloody mind. Oh my God, how can he give them money? We're giving them, all right, guys, now we want to give them 28 billion. And guess what? That's our money that he's given. That's not, from tariffs or any other horse shit. That's not Doge money or anything else. That's our money that's being given away. So there's a little bit of hypocrisy there. And when you really think about it, as Scott said, Trump can come back and say, yeah, it's a win. We could go back and kick their ass anytime we want. Well, guess what? They could close the Strait of Hormuz again anytime they want. So this is not, this may be Trump's out, and it may be an out that his party is kind of like, I don't know, really politicking for him to do, because let's face it, here come the midterms, and this war is not popular. This war is not popular on either side. And if you're going to give Iran $28 billion, when your people were complaining about giving them, I don't know, 500 million or whatever the number, it was less than $1 billion. If you're going to complain,
1.8 billion. I think
was it 1.8?
That's the number that comes to mind. 1.8 billion, and he's giving up 10 times more than that just to sit down at the table.
Right. Yep. So, if you're going to do something like this, and you're going to piss off your people when they see that you're doing it, probably best to do it as quickly as you possibly can before November, because you're going to want to frame the story here a lot. And it is very possible that a lot of those Republicans that are still running are saying, listen, we got to get out of this thing, or it's going to be a shellacking in November. I mean, it's a political calculation. And Scott's right. His believers are going to say, "Oh, thank you, Lord Jesus. This is the greatest."
This is the biggest difference. And I don't want to sound too much like the old comedian Jackie Mason, but it may be the difference between Gentiles and Jews, that Trump can tell his Gentile base, hey, I made the greatest deal ever. This is the greatest deal. Yeah, we gave him a lot of money, but it's the greatest deal. And his base will go, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Bibi goes back to his base and he says, look, we've done a great deal of damage to the enemy. They're not going to be coming at us anytime soon. And the Jews that are in his base go, schmuck. Keep fighting. You know what the hell you're doing. They're not going to give up on that thought. Right? There's a first rocket that goes flying over that border. They're going to have to be back at war right quick, or he's going to lose. He's going to lose his coalition, because these guys. And by the way, they themselves don't fight in the military. The Orthodox and the ultra Orthodox in Israel, who really make up his base over there right now, are not fighting in these wars. Other people's kids are, and it's completely crazy the system that they have over there. But that's their system. Trump, on the other hand, knows that if there's one thing he knows, it's that the strategic oil reserves are being are not being replenished and are being diminished greatly, that we're going to be running out soon, that we don't have, he keeps talking about the fact that he's stealing all this oil from Venezuela and he's going to be he stole all this oil from Iran. And, I don't know what to make of those claims. I think he floats these things out there to see if anybody believes him. But it is a big difference between these two governments that the bases of their leaders are, on the one hand, so compliant that anything Trump says, they will be, yes, that is the truth. That after decades of free traders, they're all for tariffs. That after decades of small government, that they're for government intruding into every aspect of our lives. That's Trump's base. It's not Netanyahu's base. And so this is going to be really, really difficult to do. It probably won't last till Friday. I mean, basically, I thought you were going to say this, Mark, that they're giving Bibi until Friday to get this done.
Well, yeah, and absolutely. There's his window. There's your window of opportunity. And if he so chooses to take it, because even if, let's say it's signed, let's say it goes into effect on Friday, probably by Friday afternoon, when Israel attacks Hezbollah again, it's done. So it's such it's so tenuous that it's almost impossible to sit back and say, gee, how could this possibly work? It relies on the Israelis doing exactly what the deal says they're going to do, of which neither the Iranian delegation nor the United States delegation has any control whatsoever. And how can you have this
you can't.
You can't do it.
You can't. You can't.
In negotiations, you can't do it. You had to have. You can't. If you're going to put conditions on the Israelis, you have to have the Israelis sitting at the table.
Yeah,
they have to be sitting at the table.
This is the same thing that they did with Putin and Zelensky. We're making a deal between the United States and Putin without Zelensky's even being present. I mean, it's idiotic. And
he did it with the Taliban.
Iranians, yeah, and the Iranians are saying, we will control the Strait of Hormuz. These are not international waters. These belong to us and to Oman. We want our money that the United States took. That's our money. It's not yours. We want sanctions relief. And we're not even going to talk about our nuclear program until much later. And the ceasefire it's a permanent ceasefire. And in 60 days, we'll start negotiating the rest of all this. Trump isn't talking about any of that. Oh, peace deal, peace deal, peace deal.
He does continue to talk. Maureen Dowd had a great column in the New York Times of today or yesterday, probably yesterday. I saw it this morning, and it reminds me of the old adage that history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. Who said that? Anybody get that? She says that history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. Trump has now brought himself to face the exact same thing. Well, not the exact same thing, a similar thing to what Nixon subjected the country to.
Mark Twain.
Oh yeah, okay, good. Good quote. Connecticut guy. With Watergate in Vietnam, he's got Epstein in Iran, right? He's got a quagmire and he's got a scandal. And Nixon had the same thing. And it is so, I guess, fitting that our most cynical, slimy president Nixon and our next most slimy president Trump are facing the same kind of thing. But it really is, it is kind of interesting. And I was just like, I don't know if you guys thought this way, but for 15 years after Watergate and Vietnam ended, we had relative peace in the world. And in our country was at relative peace. And then in 1990, we started moving troops over to Kuwait. And 1991, we were fighting a war. in Kuwait, and we've been fighting ever since. But those 15 years from the time I was, I was a teenager to when I was 30 and going to get married soon and all that kind of stuff, we lived in relative peace in the world. And I, I hope that my kids can get back to those, something like those 15 years, because the contrast was tremendous. And I just remember like watching CNN and the bombs. Remember the guys up on the roof and the bombs falling, and you see the missiles streaking, and from Tel Aviv, they were watching Scud missiles, coming in, and the Patriot missiles taking out the Scuds and all that kind of thing. And I'm like, holy shit, we're at war. Like, I didn't think it could happen again, I guess is my point. I really didn't think it could happen again. I didn't think we would be that stupid. Yeah, Brooke.
I have a question. Is it true? I have heard that the American military and the Israeli military are joining together in terms of, I don't know, like information sharing or something like this.
I'm sure there's a great deal of information. I've heard it being more explicit than that, and I actually read this weekend that Tom Cotton, of all people, is proposing a law that would merge the CIA and the Mossad.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
I thought that was really bizarre.
Yeah, that's what it was. I wanted to ask you about that. It was an explicit merger. I forgot exactly what it was called, but it was and I want to know what you thought about that. I don't understand this.
It's a terrible idea, right?
So what on earth would make anyone in the United States propose something like this?
Yeah, I mean, Tom Cotton wants to be the next president, and he wants to be tougher than anybody else, I guess. I don't know. But they, it doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, we're very different countries with very different needs, with very different, Israel is not surrounded by two oceans and two relative friendly countries in Canada and Mexico. It is the exact opposite. They don't have this, I mistakenly thought that Israel would be in the G7 because their economy is so robust. I mean, their per capita economy is amazing, but they're like 21st, I think. So they're outside the G20 as well. Their situation and our situation is so completely different. And I'm as big a supporter as Israel as anybody I know. I would not want to yoke my country, the United States of America, to Israel for anything. I would not want that.
Because I had thought that Netanyahu wanted more separation between the United States and Israel. So why on earth? So this is just a proposal, correct?
I don't think he's. Well, I mean, look, there's no way to know what you're reading these days is true. You have to have it. Like, I get The Economist, I get the New York Times, I get the Foreign Affairs, I get a bunch of different sources, and if they all say the same thing, I'll go, okay, well, maybe that's true. I'm still a little skeptical. But, I read this on Threads, I think, so I'm not really sure that I'm going to trust that Tom Cotton actually proposed this, but it seems like something Tom Cotton would do. So I'm not going to dismiss it. But it really doesn't make any sense to me at all. It is nothing like you would want to see. I mean, what I'm seeing here is that Mossad is going to spend these next few days trying to assassinate as many Iranian leaders as they possibly can, and decapitate Hezbollah's leadership again. And I mean, there's this old theory, right, that if you can get the top guys, the lawn mowing aspect of it, that the people who are coming up don't have the training, don't have the experience, don't have the expertise, and that you're facing a weaker foe all the time. That seems to be where we're back to now. And that there's going to be some kind of spectacular Israeli operation that is going to take out the heads of the IRGC. And, well, I guess we'll have to wait and see. Don't know.
I mean, if there's one thing that we definitely know, the last people that should decide who the new leadership in Iran is the United States. We are so bad at that. We have been horrible at that throughout history.
We can't even do it here.
No,
Look who our leader is currently.
Absolutely. You know? So, yeah. And just newsflash, Rupert Murdoch is buying Roku. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, I saw that.
There goes another outlet. And we were talking about this last week about how media outlets are being taken over. And well, there goes another one. $20 billion. All righty.
Yeah, so thank you, Brandon, from England.
Miss you, Brandon.
And that's all the time we have for today's episode. The Nova Society is a production of Nova Society Media, a division of the Phoenix Research Institute. We want to thank our production partners, Buzzsprout, who hosts the Nova Society, Audacity, our editing team, Apple Podcasts, the largest source of podcast and music online, Spotify, the most popular platform for the Nova Society, and iHeartRadio, your destination for all things music and podcasting. The Nova Society is available on all of these and other quality platforms listed in our description. And most importantly, we want to thank you, our listeners. Without your support, the Nova Society could not be possible. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing on the platform of your choice. It's easy, it's free, and helps our channel grow. For questions or comments, you can reach us at nova.society.podcast@gmail.com. So on behalf of Dr. Brooklyn Ann Weldon, Dr. Scott Gershworth, and all of our production partners here at the Nova Society, I'm Dr. Mark Bound. Remember, the true power of society is knowledge. Thank you for listening, and we hope to see you again next time. We'd like to thank our sponsor for this episode, the Journal of Interdisciplinary Conflict Sciences, the JICS. This open access journal, double peer-reviewed, provides a platform for emerging scholars to publish their work and engage in meaningful dialogue across disciplines. The JICS is currently accepting article submissions on an ongoing basis and is published through the NovaWorks Scholarly Repository at Nova Southeastern University. You'll find a link to the journal in our episode description.